Well, springtime's taking forever to get here, as it does every winter, no matter where you're at. But we haven't been doing a whole lot. Shooting the rifles, working up loads, getting ready for bear season. You know, just Mary's been getting her garden going. You know, planting her seeds inside. I got the sawmill fired up. Been trying to cut a few boards, get going.
Well, we did some boards, some upgrades on our boards and things.
Yeah, we're doing little home improvement projects, but you know, in truth, that's not what we want to show people. There's a lot of great channels out there that show,
Oh, yeah.
you know, people doing that kind of thing, and it would just be kind of redundant for us at this point. And that's not what we want to do. So, as much as I personally hate videos where people just sit and talk at a camera,
This is what you're getting.
we thought that we would take this opportunity to give a little explanation of, you know, who we are, how we got here, why we're in Alaska, why we ended up making videos, and what we want to show.
Our goals.
Yeah, what the reason we want to show what we want to show, and that would explain the gaps and why we're not doing a whole bunch of videos on, you know, cutting firewood and, you know, things like that, because we'll touch on it, we'll show that we do it. We're not going to go into depth about it. What we want to show is having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Fishing, hunting, you know, showing what we do with the animals, showing what we do with the meat, how we prepare it, you know, things like that.
Of course, you're going to see tons of stuff about my dogs, but that's our goal. That's our life. That's what we live for. Is the hunting and fishing.
I guess what we'll start with is, you know, we grew up in a small town in Oregon. Wonderful place to grow up. We've known each other since we were kids. Life happened, everything, you know, happened.
We went our separate ways, but found each other.
And we got married 13 years ago. We were renting a place in town, in our small town, and great place, but it didn't seem to fit what we wanted to do with life, so we started looking outside the box. And we moved down to Southern Oregon and lived off grid. We had solar generators. Our water came out of the side of a hill. And everybody told me, Mary's going to leave you. She's not going to support that lifestyle, but...
I don't know why everyone thought I was a city gal, but...
Yes, she was.
Anyway, but...
But she loved it. That's the lifestyle she loved. And then, you know, the Elliott Forest started selling off. Weyerhaeuser started selling permits. You know, there started to be changes there. And it just didn't fit us again. So we thought, you know, let's check out some new adventures. We loved hound dogs. We run hound dogs. And in Idaho, hounds were legal. So
oh, yeah.
we bought a fixer-upper place in Idaho and went there, loved it.
Hound hunted for years.
The place ended up being a heck of a fixer-upper.
It was a little bit more than we wanted to put into.
Full disclosure here, we're gonna mention people, but we're not gonna bring up their names.
Yeah.
It's just out of privacy. Because there's some people we're going to touch on. They know who they are as soon as we say it. I mean, great people that have done some great things for us in life, and you know, we just don't want to call them out, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But anyway,
they know who they are.
Our house ended up being too much of a fixer, and you know, it wasn't right. So some friends said, "Hey, we've got a nice place, and we'll sell it to you cheap."
Well, at first it was you can rent it until
While
you
we looked for a house.
Found the perfect place.
And then they sold it to us. It was a very life-changing moment at that time because they gave us a very good deal. They did us right.
It was absolute gift that I can't even explain.
And we loved the house. I mean, it was a 4-bedroom, 2-story house, quarter acre, wonderful neighborhood. We had first responders all around us. You know, great. We had a little episode with some bad neighbors, but that's people that know us got to enjoy that one. It was pretty fun. But, you know, it was just a wonderful place. And we hound hunted for years and then got out of the hounds and started chasing wolves. And it just kind of felt like we had experienced what Idaho was wanting to offer us. And don't get me wrong, it's a huge state. There's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of cool stuff.
It's amazingly beautiful.
But we just had that yearning, that desire for more, bigger. We wanted bigger adventures. When we say, you know, living bigger in Alaska, it's not bigger houses, bigger cars. It's bigger adventures.
Bigger adventures, that's...
And I had been to Alaska twice in Southeast to go goat hunting with friends, just going along in the hunts, and loved it. But I knew that it rained too much for my wife's migraines.
It's that environment I just can't do. That's part of the reason why we left Oregon as well. It's just too hard on my health. And
And it's, I always thought that I would rather have rain than snow, and that's not the case.
No.
We're not into the rain anymore. So, I'd mentioned moving to Alaska several times and got threatened, spit in my food,
oh,
slapped.
stop!
You
did not.
It
You might
was
got a verbal reprimand.
more or less the answer was a
No.
very polite, "I don't think so, honey,"
No.
or anything past that you can imagine. But no, it was absolutely, she wasn't gonna move to Alaska, and
Well, and part of it was because you hear so many horror stories and myths and just untruths about it's always dark, there's grizzly bears everywhere, you're going to get attacked, the usual, you'll never get another picture of a sunrise or a sunset, that's just...
yeah, crime is terrible. I mean,
crime, yeah.
all the things you heard about. I mean, that's honestly what kept us from coming here earlier. Probably is all the myths and misconceptions. But out of the blue, a buddy of mine, I'd hunted with him several times before, and he's been up here, I don't know, I think 7 years now. And he got a hold of me and says, "Man, move up here and go hunting with me." And for the first time, I walked away from that conversation without a black eye.
Whatever.
And I thought, you know what? I'm going to seize this opportunity. I'm going to push, because it wasn't a straight up no.
It wasn't a no, and my conditions were no houseboats and no boat-in properties, because I don't like water.
So we started looking, and for some reason, I don't know if you're not a religious person, that's fine, but we do believe in God, and we believe that there's God's timing and there's a reason for everything. And for some reason, this area, this small area, just was it ended up being the center of our focus on accident. I mean, it kept coming back. I mean, my buddy that wanted me to move up here, I said, "Hey, are you going to be in this area?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm driving through. He lives 6 hours away." He swung in and looked at a property that's actually 2 miles up the road from us now.
Oh, that's right.
And we had looked at, for some reason, everything just seemed to fit here. Well, then we see this property. A buddy of mine in Idaho posted up a link to a property for sale in Alaska, and I got a hold of him, like, "Man, why are you posting property up in Alaska?" "Oh, that's friends of mine that moved from Idaho, and they're selling their place to build another place."
And they were houndsmen, and we had a lot in common.
And so then I just happened to have a buddy of mine whose little brother had moved to Alaska, so I sent him a message, and I said, "Hey, how close are you to this place?" "Like 15 minutes. And, what are the odds? So then he comes over, takes a look. I said, "What do you think?" He said, "I'd buy it." So we thought about it. We kicked it around, but then we thought it's just too much money. It's not going to fit what we're doing. It wasn't going to fit our goals. So we kept looking. And that probably went on for about, I don't know, maybe another month.
It seemed like forever, but it really wasn't.
Yeah, we had forgotten. We just said, it's not going to fit it. And one morning I woke up, and I don't know why, I said, "I'm going to call them folks."
And I think I might have complained a little bit and said, "That's silly, we can't afford it."
And I tell you what, I called them up, and it was, they're hound hunters, we have mutual friends, and it seemed like their desire to sell fit our desire to buy in all the right ways.
Oh, yeah.
We were able to just talk. It was smooth, it was nice. Until the realtors get involved, and realtors sometimes can just, the best thing they could have done is just step out and let us make the deal, and that's what they did. Yeah. But we ended up developing a friendship with these people, and they've been over backwards to sell us our place, and we've been over backwards to buy their place. I like to think, that we were all working for that goal, and it just went smooth. So the next obstacle was sell our place. We put it up on the market. That was a test of patience for me, but it got done, and our goal was to move up here in April or May. Wait for a little bit of spring thaw, get up here right at the time. But we were anxious to get up here, and the gal that bought our house, she
loves it. She's so happy.
She was anxious to get in there, and she needed things that we didn't need, so that fit well. And we were able to close on that place and
Quickly.
very quickly.
Quickly.
And like a lot faster than they told us we were going to. So we were going to try to travel through Canada, and that wasn't going to happen.
That was a no-go. Too many horror stories.
With the COVID and the truckers.
Oh, that's right.
The trucker strike, we weren't going to do it. So we said, well, we're going to sell everything we own. We're going to have one trailer, one truck. Put it on a barge, and we're going to fly up. Well, the problem is when you fly up, what are we going to do? Our truck's on the barge.
Yeah.
So we called a friend, and it is a Facebook friend that's never met me. And I said, hey man, would you go look at this car for me? He said, yeah. So he goes, so I'll give you the money, you buy the car. Yeah, he bought the car. He changes the oil in it. He gets it all ready for it. Stuff he doesn't have to do. Just
No, but it was just amazing maintenance and
he's doing this for a guy he's never met. And I didn't realize it at the time, but I said, well then would you meet us at the airport? I didn't realize what I was asking him. Because you look at the map, you think, oh, he's right there.
just
He's
right
drive
there.
up.
It's no big deal.
He's 3 hours.
And he never even said a word about it.
And he's like, yep, I'll do it. And he's 3 hours from the airport. So the next obstacle we have is I have to drop the truck off at the barge. And then which is in Seattle, and then we have to stay the night, and then take us and our 5 dogs and go to the airport and get on an airplane.
Well, how do you get? We could not figure out how we were going to maneuver that just with the 2 of us and the 5 dogs.
A cab isn't going to do it, so a buddy of mine with the crew cab pickup says, you know what, I got you. And it's a good friend, him and his boy come over, they followed us around, toted us all over, and we show up at the airport, and somebody had booked the wrong month. I don't know how it happened, but anyway, when we walk up to the counter,
it couldn't have been you.
We've got everything that we have to live for the next 2 months, and 5 dogs. We walk up to the counter, they said, yeah, you don't fly out until next month.
And so, tears were shed.
I had to call my buddy and say, man, don't leave. So he went to the zoo and hung out until we could get on a plane. But the folks at Alaska Airlines
Are spectacular.
They
I
did
can't
us
say
solid.
enough about them.
They essentially shut down their line and let us stand there and visit with people for several hours until they could get us on another flight.
And usually they only allow a maximum of 5 dogs on a flight. They made an exception. And we had 3 that were going down below. They were bigger, 2 that were going to be on our laps. I mean, they just did a phenomenal job helping us in a very, very stressful time.
And
Because I think even the one lady said, are you okay with it being a couple $100 more? I'm like, yes, I will pay whatever I need to get this to happen.
And then they refunded that money.
Mm-hmm.
They refunded it later. So that went perfectly well. So then, you know, we get up to Alaska, and the problem is my buddy that I just asked to drive 3 hours to bring us a car, we're now showing up 4 or 5 hours later than we told him. So he's been 3 hours from home.
Him and his wife were
just farting around town waiting on us.
Which, I mean,
and
we got them, we paid for their dinner, but that's still so minimal for what they did. It just beyond belief.
Yeah, it was
so wonderful.
That was the least we could do, is say, hey, at least can we send you some money and
But
so you go out to dinner and kill some time. But anyway, I mean they dealt with that, which that's a huge ask, and I mean it was awesome of them to do that. So then we get in the car, start to drive back. We pre-booked a motel. We won't go on that one. The motel was awful. Grossest place I've ever been.
I've never seen anything like it. But Jason was tired. He was spent. He couldn't drive anymore. I am not a very good driver. I mean, in the snow, let alone in a place where we have no idea where we're going. So he needed to rest.
And we got up the next morning and drove to a house we'd never been. And luckily, the people that we were buying from, they had, you know, we'd shipped them things. They had all boxes of our stuff sitting here waiting for us.
Oh, yeah.
They had meat in the freezer. They had food in the fridge. They had, salmon. They had canned goods left for us. They left the couch. They left a bed.
Oh, yeah.
They
hooked us up. They hooked us up.
Everything that they wanted to leave was stuff we need. I mean, it just fit.
Well, I did mail a lot of things up and microwaves and toasters and things like that. But they took all of those and had them all ready for us. I mean,
they were extremely accommodating.
Oh my goodness, yes.
But I guess, and that's how we got here. And the way we started making the videos is, we talked about the misconceptions earlier. all of our family and friends kept saying, well, isn't it dark there? Isn't there crime? You know, and they kept asking these questions. We thought, well, easiest way to deal with this, we're just going to show the truth of what we're dealing with. And so that's why we've, you know, tried to show the truth, tried to show, you know, actual date, you know, how dark it is, how light it is on some of our videos.
Yeah.
And just kind of show around our place. And there's a million channels out there, a million people on YouTube that are making how to build this, how to do that, living off grid, and we don't want it. That's not our thing. You know, yeah, we live in Alaska in a little cabin and.
But we're no experts.
But
on
we'll touch on that. You know, if I say, oh, I'm going to build a deck, well, I'm going to show 2 minutes of the deck getting built, and here's the finished product. But we're not going to.
We're going to exclude the cussing and how I have no idea what I'm doing or what tools are. We'll exclude that.
Well, we don't want to do that. I mean, we'll touch on that stuff, but the main thing we want to do is show why we moved up here, and that was outdoor recreation. I love to fish, love to hunt. We live off wild game meat. We live off wild fish, and you know, there's a lot of different videos out there of people that they live off wild game. They live in the woods. They cut their own firewood. They cut their own lumber. They mill it up, and that's all nice and good. But they don't show the fun aspect of it. You know, they show the work aspect of it, and we want to show the fun. Yeah, I mean,
we do all those things, and we have for years. I mean, but
I love to hunt and fish. You know, I mean, so we want to show what it's like to go grayling fishing down this creek, or go fish for some reds on the Copper, going to Valdez. You'll probably see a lot of Valdez because just
I love it. Love
amazingly beautiful place. But that's what we want to concentrate on, because we don't want to be redundant and try to show all that stuff that everybody else is showing in a better way than we could.
Oh,
And we don't want to sensationalize and make stupid videos about made up stuff, that the misconceptions about Alaska.
Speaking of which, talk about the video that we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, there's a guy that we had this, I don't know who this guy is, don't know anything about him. His video just popped up the other day when I was scrolling for hunt videos. And it's Bush Radical, I think is his name.
Yes.
And this video of why off-grid living is a lie, and then why off-grid living is a lie part 2, or it's something close to that. So we had to watch it. If you wondered what our thought process is, just watch it. The guy nails it.
Oh, it's spot on.
I mean, he mentions, you know, that there's the, you know, people that live, you know, in Alaska, hunt, fish, do your own thing, and then there's the hipster version.
Go check it out. It's a very, very good video.
Very accurate. Guy nails it, and so we'll just leave it at that. But
he talks about transparency, and that's really what we want. Is we want all of our stuff to be on point, transparent. If you have questions, please ask. But we are no experts. We're just living bigger and doing our thing. And
we just want to share videos of a couple dummies going up to a new place and going fishing and hunting in new places and seeing new stuff. I mean, because if you've never seen it up here,
oh my gosh.
Pictures will not do it justice, period.
Even video. I tell everybody, you have to come here at least once in your life to Alaska and experience it.
And we just want to show people what it's like for 2 morons from down south coming up here and trying to do fun stuff.
Yep. And you'll see pictures of our dogs, that's for sure. They're being metal right now. I don't know what's happening.
But sit back, say a prayer, the snow melts, and let's get this bear season rolling.
Yes.